Those are cool food.
I'm silly.
Or do you want to, because you need to let Linda.
Yeah.
Sorry. Do you want to talk? Speak? No? Okay.
I.
Ask Granny.
Granny.
I'm right here, sweetie.
Where is Papa?
Papa's right there. You see? Mom, here. Let Linda take it.
Covered right there.
So you take the single grandchildren. That'd be you.
I have a hard time.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, there's the feelings. You would, I only think so.
I grabbed Shiba info. There's Amazing Grace on the back, and then these prayer booklets as well.
What's that? Bill Chin.
I got you. I got you.
Do you want the walk?
No.
That's okay.
It's in here.
I can see
It's
Everyone can do that. And for one, if you want, you name one.
You are flat doing well. It always is.
And for Berlin particularly.
I took a nosedive on the sidewalk. It's always a clutching thing.
That's what they call it, actually.
You know, my,
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, how are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Ah. Hey, you are.
Next time.
Where's that go? 1, 2, 3. 4, 5. Starting with glad to see you. What happened?
Okay, took us a bit to get her there, but she's in your chair. Thank you so much. Yeah.
No, I was not. I was gonna be behind you and keep on doing. Yeah. You know.
Mike spaces for a while. Quite a while. Timing. It was a full.
Good.
Were you? Actually, no. It was been a Northwest.
Okay, yes, sorry.
Yeah.
Jerry.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
If we could please make sure cell phones are turned off or silent and started here and invite you nice and close around the tent.
Right. The moving stairs.
My husband.
I think you're.
Brother, amazing.
This is a party. Isn't it? Not anticipated.
And to Jerry.
Not very good.
At least you know that. Yeah.
So this is it. Richard talked.
We do have, yeah, camera here, just a few people.
Things are things.
I got
Oh, I got right here.
I'm her youngest, I'm her baby.
I'm Sarah.
Jill's older.
We're gonna get started. You wanna come on? Trying to see it.
Really during.
Do you wanna stand?
But I just think as a family member, that makes my hand. That point.
Yeah.
I know the whole thing. Yeah. I was just gonna say, I have ours.
Easy, I grew up, you know.
If anyone really needs a seat, there are seats available. There's people with seats.
It's a great thing.
Neil was really-
I thought she would know.
One of them, and one of them.
Now, I think that's. You always have.
I go down the trail. I'm friends, we're about to start.
Usually knows.
I just want to.
No, I know, we're celebrating a lot of life of summer. Yeah, it's a good thing.
I'm Rabbi Mark, Mike's rabbi from Boulder, and it's an honor to officiate. Before we actually start the burial, we're just doing a pre-ceremony here for Michael and Cindy and Linda. Just the traditional kriya, which is a tearing of a ribbon close to the heart. It's a very ancient tradition going back thousands of years. Just this idea that we have a break, a real heartbreak on the inside, and we tear something on the outside to show that in a symbolic way. And there's a blessing that we say, and then I invite you just to tear it up the middle where there's already a start there. So if you want to, you can say the blessing after me. Baruch atah Adonai. Dayan Panim. The true judge, the sad day, and we understand the mysteries of life and death, that we try to embrace the fact that there's some level of truth and justice beyond what we can see with our limited sense of words. So, wish you only us and wish you strength and comfort. Everyone has one of these books. I'm going to just start by chanting some of the words from Psalm 121, which is on the front of the books. Me'ayin yavo ezri, esahenai el harim. Me'ayin yavo ezri, ezri me'im Adonai osei shamayim va'aretz. Ezri me'im Adonai osei shamayim va'aretz. Dai 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 dai. Dai 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 dai. Dai 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 dai. Dai 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 dai. Dai 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 dai. Shir Hamalot, Sinai Harim An Yavo Ezri, עזרי מעם אדוני עושה שמיים וארץ, אל יתן למוט רגליך, אל ינום שומריך, הנה לא ינום ולא יישן, שומר ישראל, אדוני שומרך, אדוני צילך על יד ימינך, יומם השמש לא יכך, וירח בלילה, אדוני ישמורך מכל רע, ישמור את נפשך, אדוני ישמור צאתך ובואך, מעתה ועד עולם. If you would like to, I invite you to join me in reading the English of that psalm. I lift my eyes to the mountains. From where will my help come? My help comes from Adonai, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your protector will not slumber. See, the protector of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. God is your guardian. God is your protection at your right hand. The sun will not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. God will guard you from all harm. God will guard your soul. God will guard your going and coming, now and forever. Me'ata bi'ad olam. We're here to honor the memory of Helene Steinberg and lay her to rest. The words that we're going to hear mostly not going to be my words, but I will just say that I do have some profound memories of Helene over the years at the bar and bat mitzvahs of these three wonderful people, three of her 5 grandchildren. And I just remember just such a sweet presence, such a loving presence, such a strong presence. And she was always so grateful for whatever was happening. And I know she was so proud of all of you, and I'm sure all of her grandchildren, and was just from the limited interactions I had with her, a delightful and special woman. And so I know it's a profound loss, and it's also so hard because of the reality of the last months and years of how far gone she was with her dementia, and just the fact that in some ways you already said goodbye to the mother and grandmother and great grandmother that you've and friend that you've known and loved all those years. And so in a way, I hope that today is about remembering who she was before that, and not who she was towards the end of her life. And so we can honor the memory of Helene and all her fullness and sweetness and the love that she had for everyone in her orbit. So with that, I want to invite Cindy to share some words.
Thank you guys for coming. Whew. So I'm going to talk about the last 5 years of my mom's life. Phew. And I'm just going to say I hate this fucking disease. Sorry, Rabbi. Well, Alzheimer's is horrible. It slowly takes away your memories, your independence, your ability to communicate, and eventually so much of the person you were. It takes away your dignity in ways that are incredibly hard to watch when it's happening to someone you love. But somehow, through all of that, my mom was still my mom. She was positive, she smiled, she laughed, and she was always on the move, never sat still. Up to about 2 weeks ago, she was still moving. In fact, she practically ran around that place. She tried to escape more than once. And every time I walked in there, if the alarm went off, they said, "That's Helene trying to escape." In fact, I'm sorry. And honestly, that was Helene. She was funny. She had a personality and sense of humor that refused to disappear. One of her favorite things to do was flip me off. And it usually was when I was trying to cut her nails or wash her face or something like that. And sorry. And when she flipped me off, I knew exactly what that meant. It was a love, but it was stop, I love you, but quit. But toward the end, I really missed that. I mean, in fact, in the past year, I think maybe she flipped me off once. And The amazing thing was everybody there loved her. The nurses loved her. The staff loved her. The people who took care of her loved her. She had this way of making an impression on people, even when she couldn't tell who they were or remember who they were. Sorry. When Mom died, one of the cleaning ladies came in and asked me where she was, and I told her she was no longer with us. And she literally fell to the ground crying. And I knew she was loved. And the nurses cried too. That tells you something about my mom. Even when Alzheimer's had taken so much of her, it hadn't taken away the love people had for her. The last 5 years were incredibly hard. There's no way around that. But they also gave me something I might have not otherwise had. They gave me a lot of time with my mom. And because of her recent memory was gone, I found myself thinking about the memories that were still mine. I thought about who she had been before the disease. I thought about how happy she could be, how much she loved her family, how important her children were to her, and how much she loved her grandchildren and great-grandchildren. I thought about all the years before Alzheimer's, the life she lived, the people she loved, the memories she made. And I realized something. Alzheimer's may have changed the way my mom lived in the last years, but it did not get to define her. It doesn't get to define who she was. My mom was funny. She was loving. She was stubborn. She was independent, and she was kind of mischievous. And she was deeply loved. And yes, I will always hate this fucking disease for what it took from her. But when I think about my mom, I don't want to remember only what Alzheimer's took. I want to remember what it could never take. Her smile, her sense of humor, her spirit, and most of all, the love she had for her family and the love she had for everyone around her. That was the mom I want to remember. That is the mom I want all of us to remember. And that is the mom I will carry with me. I love you, Mom.
And Colton and Sarah want to share some words. Two grandchildren, who have their grandchildren.
Well, it's well said, Mom. And one thing, just thinking off the top of my head, something you had in common with Nana is she always thought that, sometimes her jokes wouldn't be that funny, but she thought they were funny. Just like, we wouldn't always connect, but she was laughing. So,
You guys all have that in common. So
yeah, she's the exact same here, exact same with that. So Helene Steinberg, I know to many of you, she was more than just a friend. She was family. To me, she was Nana. And I feel more than blessed to say that I got her as one of my grandparents. One of many things I loved about her was, of course, her cooking. It really didn't seem to matter what she made. It just always seemed to taste better than anything else. Maybe sometimes it was better, but I believe it tasted better because everything she made for her family, she made with love. I know in all her years, Nana probably never had a warm meal because she was always the last one to sit down at the table to make sure everyone else was already taken care of. I know Papa had a warm meal every single time. We were actually, that's funny, we were just at the nursing home this last week, right before Nana left. And I said a joke to Nana, and Uncle Mike, my mom, and Dan were there. I said, Nana, Papa hasn't had a warm meal in years being up there in heaven. And Uncle Mike jumped in and threw a funny joke in there. And he said, if I had to order, acting like he's Papa, he said, if I had to order Chinese food one more time, Lord knows he did not make himself any food. Here. I feel personally that I lost Nana years ago due to the battle with Alzheimer's. So these last couple of years obviously have been tough, but even early on in that battle with Alzheimer's, she still reminded us who she was. Early on in her battle with in that nursing home, she would still be singing and dancing and as happy as ever in that nursing home. Out of nowhere, just singing in the halls, and all the nurses love that about her. That's actually one of my most favorite things that I had about her, was her joyous spirit, and her and Papa always jumping into singing songs that I'd never heard before because they're from the 50s and 60s. But they would just instantly bounce one right off another and know exactly what the other person was singing. And I know we all have that same memory of her doing those things. Well, now she can join her best friend up in heaven. Papa can finally have a warm meal. And they both can continue singing and dancing as they watch over us. I love Neil.
Sarah.
I'm really upset that you guys went first because I told myself I wasn't going to cry. Here I am. I'm really not good at public speaking, and I might stumble through my words here a little bit, so just bear with me. For the last 5 years, Alzheimer's took much from my Nana and from all of us who loved her. And one of those things that I've struggled with the most is I never really got to say goodbye to her, not in the way I wish I could have. I didn't get to sit down with her and tell her what an amazing Nana she was. I didn't get to ask her all the questions I wish I had asked her about her life. I didn't get to hear all the stories I wish I would have listened more closely to. And I didn't get to tell her, while she could still fully understand me, just how important she was to me. For a long time, I felt like that was taken from me, but it was taken from her too. Because she deserved to hear those things. She deserved to know how deeply she was loved and how much of an impact she had on my life. Sorry. So, Nana, I want to tell you now, you are the kind of grandma every kid deserves to have. When I think of what a grandma is supposed to be, I think of you. You were loving and caring. You made every visit feel special simply because of how excited you were to see us. You wanted my brother and I to experience the world. You took us on trips. You took me shopping. You introduced us to the best food, and you made the best food. But as I've gotten older, I've realized that the most special thing wasn't where you took us or what you bought us. It was how you made us feel. We always knew that we were happy. You were happy to see us, and we always knew that we were loved. As a kid, I think I assumed every grandma was like that. It wasn't until I became an adult when I realized how lucky I was. Not everyone gets a Nana like you, and I did. Some of my favorite memories aren't even the big trips or special occasions. They're the little things. I'll always remember you and Papa coming into our room at night and singing Mr. Sandman to my brother and I before we went to sleep. I'll always be able to hear your voice. I'll always remember you calling me Miss Bear. Sorry. Those are the pieces of you that Alzheimer's can never take away from me. And as difficult as these last years have been, I also witnessed another kind of love through all of this. I watched my mom take care of her mom. Mom, I watched you show up for Nana over and over again. I watched you handle something unbelievably painful with so much love and grace. And as your daughter, it was both beautiful and incredibly hard to watch. There is something about being a granddaughter and watching your mother care for your grandmother that makes you understand life differently. Nana was your mom and you're my mom. And someday when you need me, I hope I can be there with the same love and devotion that you gave her. Maybe that's one of the greatest things our mothers and grandmothers can teach us, is how to love the people who came before us and how to carry that love forward. And Nana, while I'm heartbroken that you're gone, there's another part of me that's so happy for you because I know you're with Papa again. And I know how much you missed him, and I can only imagine how happy he is to see you. And I like to think that there are so many people up there waiting for you too. Your friends, your mom, your dad, and all the people you loved who you haven't seen in many years. I imagine all of them so excited to see you again. I used to be very afraid of death, but losing you has changed something in the way I think about it. I find peace in knowing that when my time eventually comes, that there are two people who are going to be very, very excited to see me. Nana, I'm sorry I didn't get to tell you all of this before, but I believe you're listening now. Thank you for every trip, every meal, every shopping day, every song before bed, every Miss Bear, every hug, every time your face lit up just because your grandchildren walked through the door. Thank you for showing me what it feels like to be completely and unquestionably loved by your grandmother. I hope you know how much I love you, and I hope you're with Papa again. This isn't the goodbye I wish I could have given you, but it's my goodbye now. I love you, Nana. Oh, that's rough.
That was beautiful, Sarah. You definitely don't need to apologize for those tears. So real. So the last person from the family who's going to speak now is Michael. And after that, the family, if anyone has any short something they want to say, it's hot, so we're going to try and keep things moving here. But if some of Helene's close friends want to share a thought or a memory, but right now, Michael.
Well, thanks everyone for coming here to honor my mom. Life is uncertain. Eat dessert first. If I recall correctly, it was a sign that was proudly displayed in my mom's office at one time. While the sign not only captured my mom's well-known love of desserts, particularly if it included chocolate, it also spoke to her unique and dry sense of humor that she shared with all that knew her. But as those that were close to her knew, a haphazard, carefree approach to life was at times in stark contrast to the high-achieving, disciplined planner that she really was. My mom was born in Flint, Michigan to Leon and Elaine Spalter. Not long after that, the family, including her brother Roger, moved to Denver. Soon after her arrival, the pigtailed, blue-eyed young Helene would meet her lifelong friends, including Barbie and Susie and Peggy, who are here today, who called her Nini. Friendships that would last almost 80 years. She attended Park Hill Elementary School, went to junior high at Smiley before graduating from East High School. Jewishly, she was raised in a secular home. She was confirmed in Temple Emmanuel and attended Jewish summer camps at Camp Schwader. Growing up, her activities included mostly spending time with her family and friends. On Saturdays, she might wander over to the synagogue BMH, and much to the dismay of the more religious parents, grab some friends from shul and walk to Fashion Bar or maybe go to lunch at Boxers. I also just learned that she may have ditched her own religious school a time or two and head over to the candy apple store. And to think I was grounded for 2 weeks for ditching for just one day. Other favorite hangouts included Weiss Drug, which was a gathering spot featuring classic soda fountain. She loved the mashed potatoes and, of course, the gravy at Tower Chef. Susie reminded me specifically not to forget to mention the gravy. Susie also reminded me that my mom had a love for horseback riding and would regularly show up at her lessons and basically make them her own. After high school, my mom attended the University of Texas, where she was roommates with Barbie. Yeah, I was just about to talk about Barbie, and then you go and steal her thunder. But anyway, after high school, my mom attended the University of Texas, where she was roommates with Barbie. I can still hear her singing Texas Fight, or saying Hook 'em whenever UT was mentioned. Degrees for young women in her day were constrained given the variety of limited occupational opportunities. The one that was seen by many as having the best optionality was the MRS degree, which my mom would receive at the end of her sophomore year. While working at learner shops in Denver, she met my mom. My mom met a charismatic and engaging Ed Steinberg, and they would marry in 1960 and enjoy 63 years of wedded bliss. She was an incredible wife to my father, a true partner. There's a verse in the book of Proverbs that many here might know. Eshet Chayil Mi Mitzah, a woman of valor who can find. Her worth is far beyond rubies. For thousands of years, Jewish families have sung these words on Friday nights to honor the women who hold everything together. My mother was an Eshet Chayil in every sense of the word, an unmatched support system for a lifetime. I am so thankful, so blessed to have had two incredible parents. And now I take comfort in knowing that these two beautiful souls are reunited. She wasn't only a mother and a wife, she had a career path of her own. While raising three kids, she went back to school in the late 70s and earned her degree from Metro. I remember tutoring her in algebra. She had a few jobs as a social worker, but funding cuts in the early 80s made work in that field more challenging. She ultimately started a career in development at National Jewish Hospital. After that, she worked in development at Planned Parenthood. Her time at Planned Parenthood was impactful on her politically. She became a huge advocate for female reproductive rights and women's rights. She was a proud Democrat. Sorry for this. She was very proud of her pussy hat. She even flipped her traditionally conservative Southern husband. She finished her career at National Jewish and was involved in important fundraising initiatives, including the planning of the hospital's important dinners, hosting large donors. She took great pride in representing this hospital and the work they did. Being the mom of an asthmatic, no doubt. Aside from work, she played tennis. She enjoyed riding her bike along the paths in Denver and the mountains with my dad. She was a big walker and cherished taking long walks around the neighborhood. Even in her last days, she would walk almost nonstop around her facility, and the workers there would comment that she was always on the move. She was an avid reader and loved nothing more than to curl up with a good book. She had a unique talent of being able to watch a Broncos game with my dad while reading a book, completely unperturbed as my dad shouted vulgarities at the TV. Ultimately, she achieved full Jewish grandmother status by engaging in the no holds barred, take no prisoners game of Mahjong. She also loved playing games with her family. Scrabble, bananagrams, cards, and of course, one of her favorites, the dictionary game with Mrs. Burns' dictionary. I have many memories of playing this game, but unfortunately, none of those would be appropriate to share here. I will just say that the word pizzle is one that I will never forget. My mother was the ultimate giver, but she was also the most amazing taker. And by that, I mean, she took us everywhere. She took me to guitar lessons, to practices, to friends' houses, to Peaches to get records, the mall. She took me to my first concert in 5th grade. She took me to my first R-rated movie, probably before she should have. And I loved her for it. It was Blazing Saddles. I was 10. God saying, were you watching? I think so. She took us to Eastmore Swim and Tennis Club summer after summer, and she often had to take me to the doctor in the middle of the night when as a kid, I was having an asthma attack. And then she stayed with me until I fell asleep when we got home. The last place she ever drove me was to a hospital in Aspen. Kidney stones. Stay hydrated. She also took my kids, Olivia, Eliana, and Noah to Disney World, sparing me from the absolute horror of having to go by myself. And this is the one thing I will never adequately be able to thank her for. Every one of those takes was really a give. That was Ma, giving disguised as an errand, the ability to spend time with you disguised as a car ride. My mom could cook. Mexican food with her chili rellenos and taqueritos for potluck gatherings was always a hit. Her beef stroganoff was my #1 requested dinner for birthdays growing up. And I don't want to start a fight with any of the other Jewish mothers here, but my mom made the best brisket of anyone I've ever known. Full stop. And her pickles. I have never had better pickles anywhere from anyone in my entire life. Every summer, like clockwork, the bathtub and the washing machine would fill up with cucumbers because pickling season was coming. And my kids would never forgive me if I didn't mention the chocolate chip cookies that she made for us, even though I usually eat most of them. My mom also had a knack of knowing where the best comfort food was, whether it was fried chicken, burgers, breakfast. I think she actually cried when the Chili's trip was taken off the menu at Chili's. And I don't think she would mind me saying this, but as my dad would say, a woman can eat. My mom taught us about tolerance. She was an advocate of the civil rights movement. Growing up, we had several pictures and quotes of Martin Luther King in our home. In Judaism, we talk about tikkun olam, preparing the world, and the idea that every human being is made in the image of God. My mom didn't lecture us about those ideas. She lived them. She saw them firsthand. My parents appreciated us, or raised us to appreciate the value of everything we had. Perhaps it was them themselves being raised by Depression-era parents. We often wanted everything, and sometimes the answer was no, and it made us appreciate the why, and we were never left wanting. They gave us what actually mattered: family dinners, family trips, which included 4th of July's in the mountains, the beaches in San Diego, Coronado, North Carolina, Hawaii, and Washington, D.C. with their grandkids. And later in life, she and my dad had these incredible journeys together: Israel, Europe, Africa, cruises all over the world. They saw the world together, hand in hand. My mother was the ultimate planner. She and my father were disciplined about their finances, about putting their kids through college, about retirement. They lived in the house on Exanthia Street for almost 50 years. And when the time came, my mom had a plan on how to spend their final years together. There's a verse in Proverbs that says, "Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails." As well as my mother planned, and she planned everything, even she could not outplan what befell her and my father. She took care of herself. She tried to eat healthy in spite of her serious love of chocolate. She did everything right, and life still surprised her. I think that's a lesson that she'd want us to sit with today, not with bitterness, but with grace, because she faced it with grace. My mom was the keeper of our memories. If you ever walked down the hallway in my parents' house, you know what I mean. The hallway was a gallery, collage and after collage of pictures, year after year, our family's lineage on display. When my kids became bar and bat mitzvah, a gift to them, of course, was a mosaic of photographs highlighting the first 12 years of their lives. She also planned those events. She collected picture books for years, shelves of them. And in her final years, when so much else became hard, that's where we would find her, going through them again and again, looking at the faces, sitting with the memories. There's something so utterly heartbreaking in that image. A woman who spent her whole life building an archive of love, sitting at the end of it, trying to hold on to whatever her own mind was taken from her. She, of all people, understood exactly what memory was worth long before any of us ever did. Even in my mom's final years, she would still demonstrate traits that were uniquely hers. Random comments that would take you by surprise, a laugh, the way she would cock her head at you, smile, and look at you with those beautiful big blue eyes. My mother's mind was taken from her slowly before she was taken from us. Alzheimer's is a cruel thief. It steals the memory first, as if it knows that's the thing we need the most. But here's what I believe and what our tradition teaches. A soul is not the same thing as a memory. A verse in Ecclesiastes tells us, "The dust returns to earth as it was, and the spirit returns to God who gave it." Whatever Alzheimer's took from her at the end, it could not touch that. Her neshama, her soul, was whole and pure the entire time. She spent her life keeping our memories for us. The hallway collages, the picture books, the collections of pictures she made for my kids. Now it's our turn to keep hers. We say, Zikrana livracha, may her memory be a blessing. Not may her memory fade into a blessing, but may it actively bless us every single day. In the small things, the games, the long walk taken because she loved to take them. In the moment we choose not to hate, to resist. And every time one of us pulled out a photo album and remembers the way she taught us to. And yes, on occasion, in memory of my mom, eat dessert first. What a life, Mom. What a great mom. What a life. Zikranana Levracha. May her memory be and always be a blessing.
Amen.
Michael, that was an incredible tribute. Very rabbinic and very heartfelt as a son. And you and Cindy and Colton and Sarah will just paid your grandma and your mother an incredible tribute that you deserve. And as you said, you say again, Zikrana Livracha, may her memory really, really endure as a blessing. Live on in the hearts of all who knew her and loved her. As I said, I don't think we're going to open up the space for others to share, but I think if anyone goes back to just in this house, there'll be opportunities perhaps. And I know from experience that sharing memories is such an important part of the grieving process and the comfort process. So if you're not able to share out loud and publicly, maybe you want to write down something for the family, write down your most treasured memory of Helene. Those are so important to capture the full picture, you know. You know, a child or a grandchild or a great grandchild has one piece of a very cool person. Obviously, her dear and devoted friends have different memories. So with that, we'll move on with our service. And we are soon going to lower Helene into her final resting place on this earth. I don't. Work really hard, but. Yeah. We wish to honor Ratua Shlema that he's healed from whatever just happened to him. At this point, I'm going to chant the traditional memorial prayer, the El Malay Rachamim for Helene. Only if it's easy and comfortable for you, I invite you to rise, but please stay seated if you need to be. Okay. Those of you who are seated. Thank you. I appreciate it. You bet. תחת כנפי השכינה, הם קדושים וטהורים כזוהר עשייה, מסירים את נשמת חנה בת לייבל ואלין, שהלכה לעולמה. בעל הרחמים יזכיריה בסתר כנפיו לעולמים, בצרו החיים את נשמתה אדוני ונחלתה, ותנוח בשלום על משכבה ונאמר Amen. Compassionate God, eternal spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Helene Steinberg, Hannah, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, may she find refuge in the shadow of your wings, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace. And let us say, Amen. And as all of the family have said, may she indeed be reunited with her beloved dead Steinberg. At this point, we're going to lower the casket. Say, Kama, Avova Shalom, Helene. May you go to your final place on this earth with shalom, with peace. Amen. Yeah. So as many of you know, it's a Jewish tradition that we bury our own. The cemetery allows just a little earth, and then there's the code. There's going to be a vault that's going to be done. There's a few shovelfuls of earth. I'm going to invite just the immediate family who want to participate in the burial, and there's a tradition of having the first shovel on the back of the shovel to show that this is something that we have to do, but not something we are doing willingly or enthusiastically. So we show our reluctance to do the mitzvah.
He's doing sorry, let's do it. Coming out a little bit. If you like music, do hydration, something with this. We also see something. Stop.
Grandchildren want to. Yeah, I'm going to give it to Mike, Simba, and
Not seeing anything, well. Yeah. Oh, and I also take the chance to. Right. What you do? Yeah, I'll definitely do that. Let me go get those for you. Okay. Yeah, yes. I don't. So there's no one. So essentially, that's a flat up to the words in church. Something.
Bottles of water here, if anybody like they need one, please help themselves. Yes, same. And
Yeah, the coats like this.
yeah.
Oh, no. Let me see all these people. Yeah. Jacob. Yeah. Jesus. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's part of it. No, it's just, it's the strength. Yeah. Oh, I'm saying you were the no.
I've been told that the only request that Helene had for her funeral was that a certain song would be played, which we're going to play in just a moment here before we say the Kaddish. So, if anyone else, there's a few more shovelfuls of earth. Let's at least get the rest of this earth on the casket, and then we'll pause for that.
About the song that my mom requested, we're playing a certain version by Judy Collins, who actually went to East High School, where my mom went. I think Susie knew her. And I don't know if anyone else here knew her, but he knew her. So
My mother's although still
there's so many famous poems. There's a lot of famous poems.
oh yeah.
Okay, Judy Collins and Helene's request.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a snares we have already gone. 'Twas grace that brought us safe thus far, and grace will lead us all. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun. We've known as days to sing God's praise. Than when we first begun. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. No, for sure. For sure.
So in a moment, we're going to ask the mourners to lead for the first time the mourners Kaddish for Helene, and anyone who wants to. But before that,
Yeah.
But before that, if you have one of these books on page 6, let's just read responsively, alternating the lines, this powerful poem about memory. You have it? Yeah. At the rising of the sun and at its going down, we remember you. At the opening of buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember you.
At the rest.
At the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember you. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember you. Let's read together. So long as we live, you too shall live, for you are now a part of us, as we remember you. And with that, I invite the first mourners Kaddish, and immediately after the mourners Kaddish, we'll traditionally we'll make 2 lines and allow the mourners to pass through as we just offer them our greetings of love and comfort and strength as we turn from honoring the memory and of Helene into sending our love and comfort to the mourners. And everyone's invited back to Cindy's home after the funeral.
Amen.
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 To the mourners, we say, Hamakom Yenachem Etchem B'toch Sha'avlei Tzion V'Yerushalayim. May you, the mourners, the beloved children, grandchildren, and great grandchildren of this remarkable woman, be blessed with strength and comfort in the community, in God, and we wish you long life. We wish you good days, and may you continue to honor your mother's blessing through being the best versions of yourselves that you can be. Amen.